Today I'm telling the story of OX DeFi, who got a free $25,000 boat, and no, he didn't win a Mr. Beast giveaway challenge. Instead, he used a loan that pays itself back. Yep, you did hear that right. Honestly guys, the DeFi world is getting so crazy that my video titles just sound like clickbait at this point. I'm aware, but I promise that they aren't. So imagine your parents' lake boat sinks because of a bad storm. Then a year later, a thing called decentralized finance starts blowing up, and you stumble upon a decentralized app called Alchemix that lets you take out a loan which you never have to pay back because it pays itself back. So you deposit $50,000 into the system, they give you half of your deposit, $25,000 in this case, in the form of their native token, which you then exchange for US dollars. You send that to Coinbase, withdraw to your bank, buy a boat with it, and in 19 to 24 months, the $25,000 you borrowed to buy the boat is magically replenished, and now you have a 2-year-old boat plus your original $50,000, which you are free to withdraw from Alchemix. This is the story of OX DeFi's free boat. I'm not a mind reader, but I bet the 2 words on the tip of your tongue right now are scam and how. Good. That means you're actually paying attention. Hate to break it to you though, this is far from a scam, and it's all made possible with the Alchemix app. If you watch my videos, you know I like to do my research, so let's get into the evidence. A few days ago, I was inside the Alchemix Discord group when someone posed a question: has anyone actually bought something cool with an Alchemix loan? Among the sea of memes and Pepe the Frog gifs, I saw someone say, yeah, I bought a boat. Now I couldn't tell if it was a joke or not, so I sent him a private message to entertain my curiosity, right? Sure enough, he pointed me to the Ethereum blockchain transaction and explained step by step how he actually did it. He began telling me how his parents' lake boat sank in a bad storm a year ago, and after discovering Alchemix's self-paying loan mechanism, he saw it as a perfect opportunity to replace his family's boat. Sure enough, his mom was as confused as most of you are probably right now, and he even shared this funny text she sent him after he told her how he got the funds for the boat. Alright, too good to be true. How is the loan paying itself back? I know, guys, I know. Don't worry, I'm going to try to explain it in the easiest way that I can. Imagine a bank is offering a savings account with a 20% annual interest rate, which is really good, by the way. And your goal is to save up, let's say $200 so you can buy some Gucci shoes that you really like. So you open that savings account at this bank and deposit $1,000. The bank teller then tells you if you don't touch that $1,000 for a whole year, you can come back in 365 days and you'll have made $200 in interest, and you can go buy your Gucci shoes while still keeping your original $1,000. Well, that's great, but imagine not having to wait a whole year or even a whole hour. Alchemix is an improved version of this bank, and it will give you up to 50% of whatever amount you deposit right back to you on the spot if you wish. So at the Alchemix bank, you can deposit that $1,000, get your $200 right back in minutes, head to the mall, buy your Gucci shoes that same day. Then in 1 year, you'll be able to go back to the Alchemix bank and withdraw your entire $1,000. So you'll be able to keep your $1,000 and have that pair of Gucci shoes without waiting at all. One last thing, you can withdraw the full amount you deposited at any time. It's your money after all. But if you want those Gucci shoes to be free, you'll have to wait it out for a year or two for your money to work off that debt. Here's our Discord chat where OX DeFi tells me the start to finish steps of how he got his boat with an Alchemix self-paying loan. See, it all started from his real-world bank account. He used $50,000 from his savings and deposited that into an exchange, let's say Kraken. In Kraken, he then swapped his $50,000 for 50,000 DAI coins, and 1 DAI equals $1, always. At the moment, Alchemix only accepts DAI deposits. This is why he had to do a swap. He then went to the Alchemix app and deposited his 50,000 DAI. Now he can take out that magical self-paying loan. His loan limit, however, is 50% of his deposit, which equals to $25K, which is how much the boat costs. So he did just that. The Alchemix app then gave him $25K worth of their own dollar-pegged stablecoin called ALUSD. Again, they are also one-to-one with the US dollar. And finally, he swapped that 25,000 ALUSD into USDC, sent it to Coinbase, and then to his bank. And voila, just like that, OX DeFi is set for his summer lake trips on the SS Alchemix. Didn't he just deposit $50K of his own money to take back half and buy a boat with his own $25,000? How was that a self-paying loan? I'm glad that you asked. See, if OX DeFi had bought the boat with $25,000 cash, he would only have a boat. But here's the thing, he never withdrew any of his original $50,000 from Alchemix. His money is still in there, being put to work in earning interest. What happened is, the platform minted 25,000 of their native ALUSD tokens and gave that to him. so he could convert that into US dollars and buy his boat. So is his remaining 25K locked in there indefinitely? No, it's his money. He can pull out the remaining 25K tomorrow if he wanted. But if he wants that $25,000 boat to end up being free, he'll need to leave his full 50K deposit in their vault for a year or two, or maybe 3. So he can come back 24 months from now, pull out all of his $50,000, and also have a 2-year-old boat. See the difference? Understanding how Alchemix works probably took me a couple of hours and then a few days of digesting about how their ecosystem works. So it's okay if this doesn't make sense at first. I know a lot of you are curious and want to know how his 50K is earning enough interest to pay off his borrowed $25,000. This is why in the next minute or so, I'll explain how yield or interest is generated in DeFi. It's actually a pretty valuable thing to know, so keep watching. By the way, as I'm recording this video, another person on Twitter just claimed to have purchased a Porsche with an Alchemix loan. This is getting crazy. Now, I haven't personally investigated or reached out to them for proof, but still very cool and very plausible. Alright guys, so if you've made it this far, then you probably want to find out how money earns interest in the DeFi world. Let me show you another easy to follow example. So there's basically one important term that you need to know, and that's over-collateralized loans. This concept is very simple and dates back thousands of years. It's actually how pawn shops keep their lights on. So let's say Bob needs $100 cash for an emergency, but his paycheck doesn't come in for another 2 weeks. Bob could sell his PlayStation to get the money, but he likes playing video games too much, right? So instead, he takes it to the pawn shop. The pawn shop then looks up the market value and sees that the PS5 is worth around $500. They tell Bob, okay, we'll give you the $100 cash that you need, but we'll hold on to your PS5 until you pay us back $110. A $10 fee seems reasonable to Bob, so he agrees and takes the $100 from the pawn shop. Then 2 weeks pass, Bob gets his paycheck, buys back his PS5 for $110. In the end, Bob took care of his emergency and kept his PS5, while the pawn shop pocketed an effortless $10. Both parties win. In the DeFi world, this is basically how yield or interest is generated, right? People have Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other crypto that they don't want to sell, so they use it as collateral to borrow more money. Whether they reinvest that loan money or buy a boat, well, that's up to them, right? These crypto-based pawn shops, such as Compound and Aave, are the core, most bottom foundation layer of how our friend OXDeFi was able to get his boat, and the core of how the Alchemix ecosystem works. Without confusing you all too much, there is this platform called Yearn Finance, which is basically a smart savings account on steroids. All you do is deposit your crypto in there, and an algorithm starts moving it around these crypto pawn shops we talked about to get you the best return on your crypto holdings. This is where Alchemix sends your deposited money to repay your loan for you. So your money is making money. So shout out to OXDeFi for sharing his story with me, and shout out to Scoopy and the rest of the Alchemix team for putting together such an amazing product. And I encourage anyone that has questions on how Alchemix works to leave them in the comments or message me on Twitter.